guys, so getting ready to do our sampler quilt. I decided to change it up a little. We're going to do our sampler, but we're going to do it out of a magazine that I have instead. Those cards come with 0 instruction. So you have to figure out what goes on first, where it goes, the size of the finished units. You know, when you put several little pieces together, they don't give you the size of the finished units. I mean, it's just, for me, it's going to be a real nightmare. So I decided not to do that, and instead we are going to do an Eleanor Burns sampler. Hope you don't mind. It's still going to look great though. All sampler quilts look great no matter what. So I'll get the instructions and see if I can either link them here or put them in Peggy's quilting group for the first block. So the first block, block number 1, is called Golden Gate, and it is this block here, which is a really cool block. So for this one, you're going to need 3 fabrics. You're going to need a background, a light, actually 4. A background, a dark, 1 medium, and a second medium. So I'm using a fat quarter bundle to do this entire sampler quilt. That way I know all the fabrics will coordinate, so it should look great. So this is my dark that I'm going to use. This is my first medium and my second medium. So just to give you an idea. So you need those 4 fabrics. So first you're going to cut a light and a dark 5x10 rectangle, 1 of each. Then you're going to cut 1 of each, and I know this is an odd measurement, but it's really not that bad. 1 each of your background, first medium and second medium, 1 by 7/8 by 19 strip. Cut 1 of each of those, and then you need 1 4.5 inch background square. So that will be your center square there. So you could fussy cut something in there. If you had a, cute little print that you wanted to put in the very center, you could do that very easily. So I did learn one thing with this though, on how to make some half square triangles pretty fast. So your 2 5x10 rectangles, you're going to put them right sides together, and I'm going to bend you down here so that you can see what I'm doing. So put them right sides together and get them all squared up. And I am going to put a pin in mine just simply because I noticed these fabrics are kind of, I don't know, kind of like slippery. So I'm just going to put a pin in each one of these. Well, I can't put it in that corner because that's where I'm going to, well, forget it. We'll outlaw it today. So the first thing, the way they said to do this is, you need to draw a center line along your top here at 5 inches. So these are 10 inches, so you're going to draw it directly in half. So I've got my ruler here, and I'm just going to draw a line down the center, just like that. So we have that center line there. The next thing we're going to do is draw our corner to corner. This center line gave us our corner down here. So this should be simple. That ruler isn't long enough. I'll try this ruler. So we're going to go corner to corner. I thought this was pretty smart. They've been doing this for a lot of years, but I never knew how to do it this way. All right, and then from this center corner again down to this other corner on this other side. Just like so. All right. Now, we're going to sew along the diagonal lines on each side, just like you would any other half square triangles. We'll sew on this one, and then we'll sew on this one. Do not sew the center line, okay? This is just simply separating our blocks and was giving us a corner square to go by. So your block should look something like that. So we'll pull you over here. And so I'm just going to start, I don't know, I guess you could start just about anywhere you wanted to start. I'll just start on this side. So 1/4 inch away from that line, probably a little scant 1/4 of an inch, but 1/4 of an inch to scant. And I'm just going to sew right off and then turn it and come along this other line. And then turn it around and go back on the other side. And then we'll come down this side. Okay, so when you have it sewn, this is what you're going to have. You can see that I've sewn on the 2 lines there. My lighting is just terrible in here today. I'm not sure. Maybe if I put that down, I don't know. There we go. That's a little better. You can see that better. All right, so then we're just going to cut it. So that's the easy peasy part. Okay, so we're just going to cut this. So I'm going to cut this in half first, and I'm going to cut right on that first drawn line that went, what is that, vertically? All right, and then I can cut corner to corner, and I've got 4 half square triangles. I thought this was pretty cool method. It worked out really good. I don't know that it's any quicker than any of the other methods, but it seemed to work out really good. So then we've got 4 half square triangles. So we're going to press these. First thing we're going to do though is trim them to 4 1/2. Each one of these needs to be 4 1/2. Okay, so I'm using my Quilt in a Day square ruler, so I'm going to trim these. I already trimmed these 3. We'll get this last one trimmed. And we will press these open. So I'm going to press to the dark side. So I'm just going to roll that back. And this is biased, so be careful not to stretch it. I like to just, like I said, just kind of roll mine back with my fingers and finger press it, and then I can just set the iron down on it and don't got to worry about stretching it. Okay, so I've trimmed the dog ears off, so you should have 4 of these half square triangle units. Next we're going to work with our strips. So you'll need the background strip, 1 medium strip, and the other medium strip. And this is how we're going to sew them. We're going to sew them together with the background in the very center and our mediums on the outside. We will press the seams to the mediums. So let's go over to the sewing machine and we'll do this first one. So just use a 1/4 of an inch seam. And these are pretty thin strips, so be sure you try to stay as accurate as you possibly can, because it will show on these little strips. Okay, and then I'm going to finger press this open towards the darker fabric here. And I just use my finger and just kind of finger press it so it lays flat. All right, and then we're going to attach the other medium to the other side of the background. And again, just careful 1/4 inch. Make sure everything, don't stretch them, just make sure everything's lined up. Okay, and then I'm going to finger press this one also to the medium. And then we'll take this over to the pressing board. Okay, so we're going to want to press these. So since we already finger pressed them, it'll be just super easy just to run down it and get it flat. Okay, now we're going to subcut this into 4 1/2 inch by 4 1/2 inch blocks. So I am going to, hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing here. I'm going to cut this edge off here and make a fresh edge, but I'm going to line this up with the marks on my sewing machine, or on my grid here. And we need 4 of these out of this strip set. So 4 1/2 by 4 1/2. And you may have to trim it down just a little, just depending on what your seam looks like. So we're going to get 4 of these out of there. And it looks like I might have to trim mine down just a wee bit. That is not 4 1/2. That was 5.5. Oh, I hope I got enough. It's gonna be close. We could do it, I think. Nope. Okay, so I had to recut a few and make another block since I miscut the other one. Anyway, you're going to need 4 of these units, these strip units, and they need to be 4.5 by 4.5. So if you have to trim these edges a little bit, just trim a little off both sides so that it's even. And so you'll need 4 of those. So then we're on the layout of the block. So we got the center square. These half square triangles go to the inside, like so, on each corner. And then the stripes go in here. Now this is where you get to decide whether you want the light, the second medium, or the first medium, I'm sorry, to the inside. Like so. Or do we want to turn it around and put the darker medium to the inside? I don't know. I kind of like it better with the darker medium inside, because I'm going to sash all the blocks anyway, so you'll be able to see these. So I think I'll do it this way. So then all we got to do is sew the rows together, and there's really not a whole lot to match up. So we'll just pull our first ones over here, and everything should be the same size, so it should go together pretty quick. Second row, first 2 out of the second row. And the third row. If I can get them to line up. There we go. Okay, and we're going to open these up and bring our next square over and just make sure that's where it goes. This is a really easy block, and I bet this would make it really, if you were really careful about your color placement on those middle blocks, you could probably make a secondary pattern that would make a really cool full quilt. One. Okay. I had to make sure, because I know me, I like to put things together backwards and do it wrong. Alright, and then we're just going to sew our rows together. So these seams kind of want to go to the outside, so that's where I'm going to finger press them. These will go to the inside, like that. I'll go ahead and finger press these while I'm up here. Okay, and then we're just going to flip these over. They're all already attached, so they're all in the correct order. And all we have to do is match those center seams. And that's it. This one around, so this one on. Make sure your seams are going where you want them. it. There's our block. So let's get this pressed open. And this should finish out at 12 and a half inches unfinished. By looking at mine, I'm going to say that it is. If you need to trim just a wee bit, you know, you can do that too. So I'm going to go back here and make sure these are all laying down the way I want them. There we go. Okay, so here is our Ohio Gate block. You can see how much different mine looks versus the pattern. The patterns looks more square, or more circular, and mine does not. And it's just simply because of the values of the colors. So if I'd have put the darkers at the top, it would have framed it more and made it look different. I kind of like it like this, so I'm going to leave mine like that. So that's that. So 12 and a half inches. So there's our block number 1, called Ohio Gate. I will get the instructions over to Peggy, and she can add them into the files. There we go, we're started. Yay. And I'll see you guys. I'm probably not going to do these like every month. I'll probably do them like every other week or so, just, you know, wherever I get time and can sit down and do them, and we'll get them all done. Like I said, there's not going to be no time limit. It's not going to be like a block of the month. We're just going to make a sampler quilt. So, all right, I'll see y'all.